Today's demo, automated provisioning of infrastructure, OpenShift clusters, applications, and policies all in one shot. Here we go. Hello, my name is Greg Hinnemeister, and I work in the Cloud Engagement Hub. Today's demo, we're going to take Red Hat's Advanced Cluster Management and provision an OpenShift cluster onto AWS, where Rackham, Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management, will provision all of the infrastructure, provision the cluster, and then through tagging I've set up, deploy an application and policies to alter the behavior of that cluster. To set context, I'm going to show this little graphic where we've already got applications set up and policies set up across existing clusters. We're going to target AWS and tag it properly. And then Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management will provision all of the infrastructure required, and we'll show details for each one. And then it's going to provision the OpenShift cluster on top of it. And that will actually activate the tag, so it will deploy the applications and the policies automatically. All right, so let's take a look. Here is Rackham, and I've got a bunch of clusters already set up throughout a number of cloud environments. And to show the clusters themselves, we're going to go into the cluster UI, and here's a number of environments. So I've got Red Hat on IBM Cloud, Red Hat OpenShift on IBM Cloud, as well as separately on AWS. I've also got the infrastructure set up on my AWS cluster for those existing environments, and I've got my access key all set up in this provider connection so Rackham can talk to my AWS account. So let's add a cluster. Other than what I really like about this is we're going to give it a name, but look at the YAML on the right side. It will customize it as I work. And so we're choosing AWS. We're going to choose the image. In this case, I'm going to choose 4.6. Yep, the YAML is being updated. I'm going to choose the connection that I've already set up. And then you'll notice I'm going to label it with the application that I want deployed once it's running. And then, of course, it defaults to what kind of worker nodes and networking it will use when standing up my AWS account. And oh, by the way, this is edited for time and so on. And so if I click on that view logs, you can actually do a real-time view of what Rackham is doing to provision all of the resources required on AWS. The VPC and so on that I'll show you. And then it'll show you actually deploying the cluster itself. And so if I skip over to the AWS cluster, I'm going to copy the name of the cluster I gave it, and you'll notice that it has already created the VPC that I'm going to be deploying into, or that Rackham is deploying into. And it's already created a number of VMs. And you'll see it's created 3 master nodes and a bootstrap. And so the bootstrap is where it's actually doing the work to call into AWS to actually do the installation. But it's configuring the master nodes as we speak right now. We can also browse around what else it's creating. So it's creating a number of subnets. And it's also creating network ACLs, so it can control access to that. And then the security groups, it's actually creating a few of those. And so you'll see a bootstrap, a master, and worker security groups based on the instances that is being used for each role. All right, so I'm going to get back to my view of showing the VPC, and then as you'll see, the instances will increase to actually have the worker nodes deployed, and then when the bootstrap node is done, it will delete it by itself. And so here you'll see the actual cluster is created. All of the worker nodes are set up. When you do it on your own, just go into that logs and see the details. And you'll see that policy controller is actually doing the work to set up the environment for deploying the applications and deploying the policies. And so here I'm copying the credentials over and then going to log into that cluster. And of course, in real life, you're going to want to use this admin password and then set up your own credentials. And so here I'm actually going into, I'm going to stretch this out, blow it up a bit so you can see. And with this cluster installed, I'm actually going to go into this BT application, this custom tools. And it is the same application that Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management that I've identified it to want to be in that cluster as soon as it is ready. And so you'll see I did no work other than adding that label, and it is already going and running on that cluster. Now, if I go back to the main view of this cluster, you'll also see policies, and there are 6 policies activated. And by design, some are not compliant, and that's okay. But it gives you a sense of when I've set up policies across my clusters, I can actually tell it how I want the behavior of this cluster to be based on that tagging, which will in fact enforce or inform me about those policies. And so that's a brief summary of what we've done deploying an OpenShift cluster into AWS. Of course, time lapse, so it's really simple to do. And more importantly, you can use Rackham's tagging to then add the applications and add the policies that you want. All right, so that's it. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.